The gentle current moved silently through the dark space between stars. Its blue-green hull glowed softly like deep-sea creatures from Earth's oceans. Inside the living ship, Commander Valthara floated in the warm water that filled every corridor and room. Her large eyes, like polished silver, watched the sensor displays with quiet attention. "Commander," called Sensor Officer Rindle, her melodic voice carrying easily through the liquid environment. "I'm detecting something unusual. Metal debris, and what looks like a survival pod." Valthara swam closer to examine the readings. The object was small and clearly damaged, tumbling slowly in the endless void. Its design was unfamiliar, angular, and mechanical, rather than the flowing, organic shapes the Zephyrians were used to. "It's not one of ours," observed Navigation Officer Threnwy. "The materials are all wrong. Too much metal, not enough living tissue." "Bring us closer," Valthara ordered, carefully. As their bioship approached, they could see the extent of the damage. The small craft was barely holding together. Scorch marks covered its hull, and several sections had been torn away completely. Through a cracked viewport, they glimpsed a still form inside. "There's someone in there," whispered Medical Officer Kethron. "They're not moving." Valthara made her decision quickly. "Bring the pod aboard. Use the emergency bay. Fill it with whatever atmosphere that craft contains." The rescue took over an hour. The Zephyrians had to be extremely careful, as the pod's alien construction made it difficult to handle with their biomechanical systems. When they finally got it inside and managed to open the sealed hatch, they found something none of them had ever seen before. The being inside was unlike any species they knew. It had no fins or gills, and its skin was a strange pinkish color instead of the blue-green of Zephyrians. Most shocking of all, it appeared to breathe gas rather than water. The creature was unconscious, with burns across its chest and one arm, bent at an unnatural angle. "What is it?" asked Rindle in amazement. Catherine was already scanning the being with her medical instruments. "The readings are incredible. Its blood uses iron to carry oxygen instead of copper like ours. And look, it has only 2 hearts instead of 3. How does it survive with such simple biology?" The alien's clothing bore strange markings, and a small device on its wrist displayed symbols none of them could read. Valthara touched the device gently, and suddenly it began speaking in a mechanical voice, cycling through different languages until it settled on Galactic Standard. "Emergency protocol active. Subject, Jinwoo Park. Engineer, Earth Colonial Service. Medical assistance required. Earth." Threnwy had heard the name before. "Isn't that one of the newer species? The ones that just discovered space travel, eh?" Human Catherine said with wonder. "I've read about them in the galactic databases. They're supposed to be very adaptable." For the next several days, the Zephyrians worked tirelessly to keep their unexpected patient alive. They had to completely guess at human medical needs. Using the basic information from his suit's computer and their own careful observations, they created a special room filled with the gas mixture his people breathed, and slowly nursed him back to health. Jinwoo's first memory when he woke was of drowning. He thrashed weakly, expecting to feel water in his lungs, before realizing he was breathing normally. The room around him was unlike anything he had ever seen, walls that seemed to pulse gently with their own light, and everything curved and flowing like the inside of a giant shell. A face appeared in his vision, and Jinwoo's heart nearly stopped. Large silver eyes stared at him with obvious intelligence, set in a face that was elegant but completely alien. The being's skin had a blue-green tint, and what looked like gills fluttered gently at its neck. "Do not fear," the creature said in perfect galactic standard. "You are safe. I am Medical Officer Catherine of the research vessel Gentle Current. We found your escape pod and brought you aboard." Jinwoo tried to sit up and immediately regretted it as pain shot through his ribs. "My ship, the new soul." Pirates attacked us. Your vessel is gone, Catherine said gently. We found only debris and your pod. You have been unconscious for 4 days. Over the following weeks, Jinwoo slowly recovered his strength. The Zephyrians were endlessly curious about him, asking countless questions about human biology, culture, and technology. In return, he learned about their peaceful civilization and their incredible biotechnology. What amazed them most was his ability to adapt. Despite his injuries and the stress of being the only human among aliens, Jinwoo began helping with small repairs around the ship, where the methodical Zephyrians would spend hours growing new biocomponents. Jinwoo would jury-rig solutions using spare parts and basic tools. Your mind works so differently, observed Engineer Velanoth as she watched Jinwoo fix a broken sensor with nothing but wire and determination. You see solutions we would never consider. Humans are good at making do with what we have, Jinwoo replied, wiping sweat from his forehead. We've had to survive. As his strength returned, Jinwoo began to understand just how far from home he truly was. The gentle current was months away from any human settlement, traveling deeper into Zephyrian space. He was alive, but completely alone, among beings who, despite their kindness, were as alien to him as the depths of an ocean. Still, every day brought new wonders and new friendships. The Zephyrians had saved his life, and slowly, Jinwoo began to realize they might have given him something even more precious, a chance to bridge 2 very different worlds. Months passed as the gentle current continued its slow journey through Zephyrian space. Jinwoo had grown stronger, and his temporary quarters in the converted storage bay had become surprisingly comfortable. The Zephyrians had worked hard to make him feel at home, installing additional air recyclers, and even creating a small viewing port where he could watch the stars. Every morning, Jinwoo would put on his modified breathing gear and swim walk through the water-filled corridors to the engineering section. The Zephyrians had designed special equipment that let him move through their liquid environment, though he still looked clumsy compared to their graceful swimming. Good morning, Jinwoo, called Engineer Velanoth as he arrived. We have a problem with the bioprocessor in Section 7. It keeps growing too slowly. Jinwoo had learned that Zephyrian technology was based on living organisms. Their ships were essentially giant sea creatures, bred and trained to carry passengers through space. When something broke, they had to encourage it to heal or grow back, which could take days or weeks. Let me take a look, Jinwoo said, pulling out his simple toolkit. The Zephyrians watched with fascination as he studied the bioprocessor. Where they saw a sick organism that needed careful treatment, Jinwoo saw a mechanical problem with a biological solution. What if we give it a little help? He suggested, connecting a small electrical device to the processor's nerve center. Just a tiny bit of stimulation to speed up the growth. The Zephyrians looked worried, but what if we hurt it? Our manuals say we must wait for natural healing. Sometimes nature needs a gentle push, Jinwoo replied with a smile. He activated his device, sending mild electrical pulses into the bioprocessor. Within hours, the organism began growing at triple its normal rate, soon functioning perfectly. Incredible, whispered Velanoth. Your species thinks so, directly. You see simple solutions, where we see complex problems. Jinwoo was learning just as much from them. The Zephyrians made every decision as a group, discussing each choice carefully, until everyone agreed. At first, this frustrated him. On human ships, the captain gave orders, and the crew followed them quickly. But slowly, he began to understand the wisdom in their method. Why do you always vote on everything? He asked Commander Velthera during one of their daily conversations. Because when everyone helps make a decision, everyone works harder to make it succeed, she explained. Your people are individuals first, but we are a community first. Both ways have value. Jinwoo found himself changing, becoming more patient and thoughtful. When problems arose, Instead of jumping to quick fixes, he learned to consider how his solutions would affect the entire crew. The Zephyrians, in turn, began making faster decisions when they saw how Jinwoo's quick thinking could solve urgent problems. The real test came when they reached Aquanus, the Zephyrian homeworld. Jinwoo pressed his face to the viewing port as they approached, amazed by what he saw. The planet was almost entirely ocean, with beautiful cities built from living coral reaching up toward the surface. Graceful towers swayed gently in the currents, connected by flowing tubes where Zephyrians swam between different districts. "It's beautiful," he whispered, "and it will be your home for as long as you wish," Velthara said warmly. The underwater cities were wonders beyond imagination. Jinwoo was given a special dwelling in the diplomatic quarter, a air-filled bubble connected to the city's living infrastructure. Curious Zephyrians came from across the planet to meet the first human most of them had ever seen. Young Zephyrians were especially fascinated by his differences. They would gather around his dwelling's transparent walls, watching him eat solid food instead of filtering nutrients from the water. Jinwoo enjoyed teaching them simple human games and showing them pictures of Earth from his rescue pod's memory banks. "Your world has so many different environments," observed a young student named Lithan. "Deserts, forests, mountains, oceans, all on one planet. How do your people survive in such changing conditions?" "We adapt," Jinwoo explained. "Humans are good at learning to live anywhere. It's what we do best." But as weeks turned to months, Jinwoo began to feel something he hadn't expected: loneliness. Despite the Zephyrians' kindness and acceptance, he was still the only air-breathing being on an entire water world. He needed special equipment just to move around, and he could never truly swim freely like his friends. Late at night, he would stare through his dwelling's walls at the gentle lights of the city and think about Earth. He missed the feeling of wind on his face, the sound of rain, the simple pleasure of walking on solid ground under an open sky. The Zephyrians had saved his life and given him a home, but part of his heart remained elsewhere. "You seem sad lately," Velthara observed during one of her visits. "Are we not taking good care of you?" "You've been wonderful," Jinwoo assured her. "It's just ... Sometimes I dream about my own world, about breathing freely, without equipment, about seeing my own sun." Velthara's large eyes showed understanding. "You carry two worlds in your heart now. This is both a gift and a burden. You help us understand that there are other ways to live, but you also feel the pull of your birth waters." Jinwoo nodded sadly. He had found friends among the stars, but he had also discovered that finding a new home didn't always mean forgetting the old one. As he looked out at the alien beauty surrounding him, he wondered if he would ever see Earth again, or if he would spend the rest of his life as a bridge between two worlds, loved by both, but never quite belonging completely to either. 18 months had passed since Jinwoo's rescue, when the long-range communication array in his dwelling began flashing with an incoming transmission. He had built the device himself, with help from Zephyrian biotechnology, hoping against hope that someday he might hear from Earth again. His hands trembled as he activated the receiver. The signal was weak and filled with static, having traveled across vast distances of space. Slowly, a familiar face materialized on the screen: Admiral So-Young Kim, her expression grave and tired. "Jinwoo Park, this is Admiral Kim of Earth Defense Command," her voice crackled through the speaker. "We didn't know if you survived the attack on the New Soul. I'm sorry to contact you with difficult news, but you need to know what's happening." Jinwoo leaned forward, his heart pounding. "Admiral, I'm here. I'm alive. What's wrong?" The Admiral's face was grim. "The attack on your colony ship wasn't random piracy, Jinwoo. We've discovered it was part of something much larger. A group called the Hegemony has been systematically destroying peaceful settlements throughout this sector of the galaxy." As Admiral Kim spoke, Jinwoo felt his blood turn cold. The Hegemony was an alliance of aggressive species that believed only the strong deserved to survive. They had been moving through space like a plague, conquering or destroying every civilization they encountered. 17 human colonies have been wiped out completely, the Admiral continued. Millions of people, Jinwoo, gone, and now they're moving toward Earth itself. Jinwoo sank into his chair, overwhelmed by the horror of what he was hearing. All those people, families, children, entire communities, destroyed by beings who saw compassion as weakness. We're mobilizing every ship we have, Admiral Kim said. Every person who can hold a weapon or pilot a spacecraft. But intelligence reports suggest we're facing impossible odds. The hegemony has conquered dozens of star systems. Their fleet is massive. The transmission flickered, and for a moment, Jinwoo thought he had lost the connection. When Admiral Kim's face reappeared, her expression was softer. I won't lie to you, Jinwoo. We could use every experienced engineer we can get. Your expertise with alien technology could be valuable. But I'm not ordering you to come home to die with the rest of us. You've found safety among friends. Stay there. Live. The transmission ended, leaving Jinwoo alone in the silence of his dwelling. Through the transparent walls, he could see Zephyrians swimming peacefully through their beautiful city. Unaware that death was spreading across the galaxy like a shadow, Commander Velthara found him hours later, still sitting in his chair and staring at the blank communication screen. She had learned to read human expressions during their time together, and she could see the pain in his eyes. Bad news from your home waters, she asked gently, settling into the water-filled section of his dwelling. Jinwoo told her everything, about the hegemony, the destroyed colonies, and Earth's desperate situation. As he spoke, more Zephyrians arrived. Engineer Velanoth, Medical Officer Kethron, and others who had become his closest friends. Your people face extinction, Velanoth said quietly. This hegemony sounds like a disease that destroys everything beautiful in the galaxy. What will you do? Asked Kethron. Jinwoo looked around at the faces of beings who had saved his life, who had welcomed him into their world, despite all their differences. They had given him everything, friendship, purpose, safety. How could he abandon them to return to what might be humanity's final battle? I don't know, he whispered. My heart is torn in two directions. You are my family now, but Earth is my birth world. How can I choose? The Zephyrians discussed the situation in their usual thoughtful way, their voices creating a gentle harmony. In the water, finally, Commander Velthara spoke. Jinwoo, in all our months together, you have taught us that sometimes quick action is better than long thought. You have shown us that individuals can make choices that benefit the whole group. What does your heart tell you to do? Jinwoo closed his eyes, thinking of Earth's blue skies and green forests, of the billions of humans who didn't even know his name but were still his people. He thought of children playing in parks, of lovers walking hand in hand, of all the simple, beautiful moments that made life worth living. My people are dying, he said finally. I can't stay safe while they face destruction alone. Even if there's no hope, even if we're all going to die, I have to try to help them. The silence that followed seemed to last forever. Then Vel did something that shocked him completely. Then we will take you home, she said simply. We? Jinwoo stared at her in amazement. The crew has been discussing this while you wrestled with your decision, Velthara explained. We have voted, and we are unanimous. We will escort you back to Earth. Jinwoo couldn't believe what he was hearing. But you're a research vessel. You're not warriors. And it could take months to reach Earth. Months you'd be away from your own world. Jinwoo Kethron said softly, you have taught us that some things are more important than safety. You could have stayed comfortable in your rescue pod, but instead you helped us, worked with us, became part of our family. Now your family needs you, and we will not let you face this alone. Velanoth nodded agreement. Besides, this hegemony sounds like a threat to all peaceful species. If they destroy humanity, how long before they come for us? Jinwoo felt tears streaming down his face as he looked at his alien friends. They were willing to leave their safe, beautiful world and travel into danger, just to help him save people they had never met. "You would do this for strangers?" he asked. "Not for strangers," Velthera corrected gently. "For you, and through you, for the people who made you the good person you are. Your Earth must be special indeed to create someone like you." The journey to Earth took 3 long months. The gentle current traveled through sectors of space that few Zephyrians had ever seen, following old trade routes and navigation beacons toward the small blue planet that Jinwoo called home. During the voyage, they encountered the true horror of what the hegemony was doing to the galaxy. Twice they found the wreckage of refugee ships, families trying to escape the advancing war fleet, cut down without mercy. The peaceful Zephyrians were shocked by such cruelty. "How can any thinking beings choose to cause such suffering?" asked Medical Officer Kethran, as she treated survivors they had pulled from a damaged transport ship. "Because they believe that might makes right," Jinwoo answered sadly. "They think compassion is weakness, and that only the strong deserve to live." The rescued refugees told terrible stories. Entire planets burned from orbit, populations enslaved or eliminated, species that had taken millions of years to evolve, wiped out in a matter of days. The hegemony moved through space like a plague, leaving only death behind them. Commander Velthara called a crew meeting after they encountered a particularly horrific scene, a hospital ship that had been destroyed while trying to evacuate wounded civilians. The Zephyrians floated in their council chamber, their usual calm disturbed by what they had witnessed. "We are a peaceful people," Velthara said quietly. "For centuries, we have avoided conflicts, believing that all problems can be solved through discussion and understanding. But some beings cannot be reasoned with. Some choose evil simply because they can." Engineer Velenoth spoke up, her voice troubled. "If we do nothing, this hegemony will eventually reach our own worlds. They will destroy everything we have built, everyone we love. And if we fight," added Navigation Officer Threnwy, "we may become like them creatures who solve problems with violence." The debate continued for hours. Jinwoo watched his friends struggle with a decision that went against everything their culture stood for. Finally, young Censor Officer Rindle, who rarely spoke in council, raised her voice. "Jinwoo has shown us that sometimes we must act quickly to save lives," she said. "When he was injured, we didn't debate for days about whether to help him. We acted because it was right. Now millions of innocents need our help. How is this different?" The vote was unanimous. The gentle current would stand with humanity against the hegemony. When they finally reached Earth's solar system, the Zephyrians gasped in amazement at their first sight of the blue and green world. Unlike Aquanus, which was almost entirely ocean, Earth showed incredible diversity: white ice caps, brown deserts, green forests, and blue seas, all visible from space. "No wonder your people are so adaptable," whispered Threnwy. "Your world taught you to survive in any environment." Earth's defense fleet was gathering near the moon, hundreds of ships of all sizes, from massive battleships to tiny fighters. But even Jinwoo could see they were outnumbered. The hegemony's advanced scouts had already been spotted at the edge of the solar system. Admiral Kim's face appeared on their communication screen, her expression suspicious when she saw the alien vessel approaching Earth. "Unknown ship, identify yourself immediately, or you will be fired upon." "Admiral, this is Jinwoo Park aboard the Zephyrian research vessel Gentle Current. We're here to help." The Admiral's expression changed to shock, then joy, then confusion. "Jinwoo, you're alive. But what are you doing with aliens? How do we know they're not hegemony spies?" It took several hours of careful negotiation before the Zephyrians were allowed to approach Earth's fleet. Jinwoo served as translator and diplomat, explaining his rescue and the months he had spent learning about Zephyrian culture. "They saved my life when they had no reason to help me," he told Admiral Kim during a secure video conference. "They've Seeing what the hegemony does to peaceful species, they want to stop this madness as much as we do. The meeting between human and Zephyrian leaders was awkward at first. Admiral Kim and her staff were used to quick decisions and clear command structures. Commander Valthera and her crew preferred lengthy discussions and group consensus. But as they began sharing information and technology, amazing possibilities emerged. Captain Dong Hyen Lee, Earth's chief engineer, was fascinated by Zephyrian biotechnology. "Your ships are alive," he marveled, studying scans of the gentle current. "They can heal damage, adapt to new situations, even grow new components when needed. And your mechanical systems can be modified instantly," replied Engineer Velanoth, with equal amazement. "When something breaks, you don't wait for it to heal. You simply replace it, or rebuild it better than before." The two species began working together with growing excitement. Human creativity combined with Zephyrian patience produced solutions neither could have achieved alone. They developed hybrid technologies that merged living biosystems with mechanical precision. Communication, networks that could adapt and learn, weapons that could repair themselves in battle. Jinwoo found himself at the center of it all, translating not just languages but entire ways of thinking. He helped the methodical Zephyrians understand human urgency, while teaching the humans to appreciate Zephyrian thoroughness. "You're like a bridge between two worlds," observed Lieutenant Minho Choi, a young pilot who had volunteered to test the new hybrid fighter systems. "That's exactly what I am," Ginwoo replied, "watching human and Zephyrian engineers work side by side. And maybe that's exactly what the galaxy needs right now." As the combined fleet prepared for the coming battle, Jinwoo realized something remarkable was happening. The hegemony had intended to destroy humanity, but instead they had created something new, the first true alliance between species based not on conquest or fear, but on friendship and mutual respect. The rescue of one lost human was becoming the foundation for something much larger, something that might just save them all. The hegemony fleet arrived like a dark storm across the stars. Hundreds of warships emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, their hulls black as space itself. They had expected to find a small, frightened human fleet waiting to be destroyed. Instead, they found something that confused and alarmed them. Alongside Earth's mechanical warships floated the graceful forms of Zephyrian bio-vessels, their living hulls glowing with soft blue-green light. The two fleets had merged into something entirely new, a hybrid force that combined human determination with Zephyrian wisdom. Admiral Kim stood on the bridge of her flagship Soul's Pride, watching the enemy approach. Beside her, Jinwoo monitored the bioneural link that now connected every ship in the combined fleet. The technology was barely 3 days old, but it allowed human and Zephyrian crews to communicate instantly, sharing thoughts and tactical information at the speed of light. "All ships, this is Admiral Kim," she broadcast across the fleet. "Today we fight not just for Earth, but for every peaceful species in the galaxy. Show them what happens when free beings stand together." The battle began at the orbit of Mars. Hegemony ships attacked in their usual formation, overwhelming force designed to crush resistance quickly. Their commanders had conquered dozens of star systems using the same brutal tactics, but this time, something was different. When they targeted human ships, Zephyrian biovessels would flow around them like living shields, their hulls absorbing damage and healing instantly. When Zephyrian ships needed rapid repairs, human engineering crews would link their mechanical systems to the bioships, providing instant reinforcement. Captain Haijin Yoon, commanding the destroyer, Bison Thunder, found herself working directly with Commander Valthera aboard the Gentle Current. Their ships had literally merged during the battle, Zephyrian living tissue growing around human metal to create something stronger than either could be alone. "Their command ship is breaking through our left flank," Captain Yoon reported, her voice calm despite the chaos around them. "I see it," replied Valthara, through the bioneural link. But look how their smaller ships react when we target their leader. They become confused, frightened. They're not used to thinking for themselves. Jinwoo, monitoring the battle from multiple viewpoints simultaneously, suddenly realized something crucial. Admiral, the hegemony ships aren't really cooperating. They're just following orders from their command vessels. If we can disrupt their communication, they'll turn on each other, Admiral Kim finished. Do it. Using technology that neither species could have developed alone, Jinwoo and his team transmitted a special virus into the hegemony communication network. It wasn't designed to destroy their systems, it was something far more dangerous to a tyrannical alliance. It gave lower-ranked officers the ability to communicate directly with each other, bypassing their commanders entirely. The effect was immediate and devastating. Hegemony ships that had been enslaved races, forced to fight for their conquerors, suddenly found they could coordinate without their masters knowing. Within minutes, ships began turning their weapons on their own command vessels. What's happening to them? Asked Lieutenant Minho Choi, piloting one of the new hybrid fighters that combined human speed with Zephyrian adaptability. They're remembering what it means to be free, Jinwoo replied, watching as entire squadrons of hegemony ships switched sides or simply stopped fighting. The battle raged for 6 hours, but the outcome became clear long before the end. The hegemony strength had always been based on fear and domination. When their victims could suddenly coordinate and support each other, the alliance of tyrants crumbled like a house built on sand. By the time the last hegemony command ship surrendered, nearly half their fleet had switched sides. The remaining ships that stayed loyal to their masters were overwhelmed by the combined force of humans, Zephyrians, and newly liberated species working together in the aftermath. As rescue ships searched for survivors and medical teams treated the wounded, Jinwoo stood on the observation deck of the gentle current. Earth turned slowly beneath them, blue and beautiful and safe. Around him, beings from a dozen different worlds worked side by side. No longer enemies, but partners in building something better. Commander Velthara joined him at the viewing port, her large silver eyes reflecting Earth's light. "Your world is beautiful," she said softly. "I understand now why you needed to return to protect it. And I understand why you were willing to help me," Jinwoo replied. "You saw something worth protecting too. Not just my planet, but the idea that different beings can choose to care for each other." 3 months later, the formal alliance ceremony took place in Earth's Pacific Ocean. At the site of the new joint research station, Jinwoo had been appointed as Earth's first ambassador for interspecies relations. Spending his time traveling between worlds and helping different species learn to work together, Lieutenant Somin Park, Jinwoo's younger sister, and now Earth's Secretary of Interspecies Affairs, cut the ribbon to officially open the research facility. Above them, Zephyrian bioships swam gracefully through Earth's atmosphere like gentle whales, while human spacecraft provided escort. 18 months ago, we rescued one lost human from the darkness between stars, Commander Velthara said during her speech at the ceremony. "We thought we were simply saving a life. Instead, we discovered that compassion creates connections stronger than any weapon." Admiral Kim, now heading the new Galactic Defense Alliance, nodded in agreement. The hegemony believed that only the strong deserved to survive. They were wrong. It's not the strongest who inherit the galaxy, it's those who choose to help each other. As the ceremony ended, and beings from dozens of worlds mingled peacefully together, Jinwoo realized that his rescue had become something much larger than anyone could have imagined. One act of kindness had rippled outward across the stars, proving that even in the vast darkness of space, the light of compassion could shine bright enough to change everything. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly as it should be.